Okay, we'd now like to welcome on a very, very special guest. She is the Strategic Partners Manager at the League to Save Lake Tahoe, otherwise known as Keep Tahoe Blue. It's Hailey Hawkins. Thanks for joining us, Hailey.
Hey, Zach. Thanks so much. Excited to be here.
So I have to start with probably the lamest interview question to start ever, but
Perfect.
I am generally curious. How's the weather up there? I know you guys are getting some snow.
That question. Thanks for asking. It's actually, the past like couple weeks have been a little extra cloudy, but it's a sunny, mild day today. I think it's in like the 40s. I took my dog on a walk. There's still some snow on the mountains, like kind of sprinkled at the top, but it's like nice and still like kind of dry. So I feel like we're getting like a little bit of a break before it gets like super cold again.
It's tweener season, right? You're almost to like the storms and the shoveling and the snow, but not there quite yet.
Yeah, and
Uh,
trying to squeak in those last bike rides.
yeah, exactly. So I want to talk about the League to Save Lake Tahoe. I love what you guys do. We fully we're super supportive of everything you guys do. And it's funny. This was years back. I went on a trip to Tahoe, and my wife saw your stickers, and she
Mm.
had no idea who you guys were or what you did, and I was surprised that people didn't know. So for anyone out there who doesn't know what the League to Save Lake Tahoe does, can you give us a little insight?
I love it. We have like we're most known for these iconic stickers and our iconic slogan, Keep Tahoe Blue. A lot of people actually think that we're a sticker company, but in fact, we are a 67, 68 math-year old organization of environmental experts and Tahoe lovers that keep Tahoe beachable, bikeable, boatable, hikeable, enjoyable, or any other able. You might add insert your own verb here. Um, we keep it enjoyable for everyone and for future generations.
That's amazing. And I have so many questions about the nonprofit and how you guys operate, because you guys do a million different things, and you have done so many things over the course of history in Lake Tahoe, or human history in Lake Tahoe. But one of your biggest contributions, at least publicly, is your trash cleanups.
Mhm.
And um, we all know of Tahoe as this big tourist destination, and people come in and they may not respect the lake as some locals do. So you guys organize these big trash cleanups. I'm specifically thinking about 4th of July and all the trash that's on the beaches afterwards. So can you just talk a little bit about how you guys organize these cleanups and how big they are in terms of keeping trash off the beaches and out of the lake?
Totally. I love how you said that. We do so many things. We untrash Lake Tahoe. We keep our waters crystal clear and free from invasive species. We make sure development makes things better, not worse. We repair the damage done to our ecosystems and our watersheds. We're finding solutions to our traffic problems and so much more. But to elaborate on our cleanups, which I agree are probably one of our most public facing things that we do, we have an amazing community engagement team that's like kicking butt and getting our volunteers really actively involved. We also sometimes the people that are coming to our events don't live in Tahoe, but they center their vacations around these events that they know we have coming up, like our July 5th cleanup, also known as our Keep Tahoe Red, White, and Blue cleanups. Every year on July 5th, we get up really early in the morning. And so I'm like going to bed really early on July 4th. So like when the fireworks happen, I'm like, ah, guys, I have to be up at 5 in the morning. We get up super early on July 5th and we go clean up our beaches. And many of your listeners, and I'm sure you, Zach, remember what happened in 2023. There were 6,000 pounds of trash on one single Tahoe beach. It was really disappointing, but thanks to our volunteers, we got it all cleaned up. Because of that, all like the public outcry, after that, and us knowing that this was a really challenging problem that needed to be solved, we and a bunch of our partners, including the U.S. Forest Service, got together and created a Blue Beaches program. And this year, 2024, July 5th cleanup, there was like I don't know, 90 something, 97+% reduction in trash on that same beach. So instead of 6,000 pounds the year before, there was 200 pounds of trash, which is actually like pretty normal. That's like the normal after 4th of July. And so it's not, of course we want it to be zero, but we were really pleased with that reduction. Also in this year on July 5th, we had a record turnout number of volunteers. We had almost 800 volunteers from all over the lake at like 5, 6, 7 cleanup sites. And so we had a ton of people come out and help. And to me, that really spoke to how passionately people care about the lake. And it's just like such a cool thing. And our cleanups are so important because once trash becomes micro trash or micro nanoplastics, like you can't get that out of the lake. It's there forever, and so it's really important to us and the future of Tahoe and Tahoe's clarity to make sure we get that trash out before it gets in the lake. So, all of our volunteers and our community engagement team are just really making it happen.
Yeah, you talk about 2023, and unfortunately, I think just like human nature in general, is we have to experience those really bad years in order for humans to learn. But that probably goes to your messaging, right? Is almost just as important as the actual physical cleanup itself. Is telling people
Mm.
to clean up after yourself before you leave. Would you agree?
Yeah, we have a bunch of cute names for things, but we call that being a Tahoe blue gooder. So we want people to leave no trace, of course. Leave it better than you found it. We want people to choose reusable. So like bring your reusable water bottle with you. Bring in, a handkerchief, bring a napkin, bring your pet waste bags. All of these things to make sure that we are reducing our waste as much as possible. Because, like I believe I mentioned, the majority of the trash that we find on our shores is plastic. And a lot of that is related to food. So, like single use plastic water bottles, utensils, to go containers, the list goes on. And so, if we can stop that at the source, I mean, that's the best case solution.
Yeah, absolutely. Tahoe's water is so fascinating. It's
Mm.
known for being crystal clear blue, and of course that's partly because of you guys trying to keep it blue. Um, but there are a lot of different factors that can harm the quality of the water in Lake Tahoe. You mentioned
Mhm.
invasive species. You mentioned microplastics. Like, what are some things that people maybe don't think of when it comes to both the health and the clarity of Lake Tahoe?
I'm just blown away by how good of a question that is, Zach. So I think the one of the biggest things that contributes to the clarity of the lake and that people don't think of is our cars and transportation. So Lake Tahoe gets about 15 million visits per year. And to put that in perspective for the listeners, that is more than any national park in the United States. In fact, it's 4 times more than Yosemite National Park. But we are in a national park. We don't have the same protections. And so we have to kind of like monitor that and make sure that we're treating our lake well. And so, like I mentioned, cars, 15 million visits, that's a lot of cars. And every time we drive on the road, there's particles from our tires and the asphalt that are coming up. And when it rains or when the snow melts, all of that ends up in the lake. And that impacts the clarity of the lake. It also can, due to like some really fancy scientific processes that are not my expertise, it can also lead to the environment, like the environment of the lake being more conducive to like algae growth and aquatic invasive species. So it kind of becomes this like positive feedback loop. So we really want to encourage people to use public transportation when they can, carpool when they can, use your bike when you can. There's tons of awesome bike stores where you can rent bikes while you're visiting in town. Um, yeah, so I think that's something that folks can think a little bit more about on their next trip to Tahoe.
Yeah, you don't think about it. I mean, you know, you have to drive to Tahoe, right? Like, there's not a ton of options other than hopping in your car and driving there. And I certainly love like bringing my bike because South Lake Tahoe, especially, and like Tahoe City and Truckee are super
Mhm.
bikeable. Um, But like in terms of public transportation, like what's the best way for people to use that? Specifically, let's say South Lake Tahoe.
Sure. In South Lake Tahoe, we have a bus that stops up and down. I know that schedule is online. We also have Lake Link, which is really cool. It's a microtransit option. Keep Tahoe Blue was actually instrumental in bringing that to the lake, and we did the first pilot. It was really exciting, and that's improving. And so, say you're going to a concert in near the casinos or at the new Tahoe Blue Event Center, take Lake Link and check it out. And then you don't
Yeah,
have to drive after maybe you've been having some fun.
yeah, absolutely. So just, I mean, there's a ton of examples about what you guys do in Lake Tahoe, but I wanted to talk about a specific one because maybe it will give people an idea of exactly what you guys do. Recently, it was announced that AT&T had these telecommunication cables in the lake, and you have been, there was a lawsuit and so on and so forth, but you've been working with them to remove them. Can you talk a little bit about that process? And why it's important for an organization like you to maybe be sort of the middleman of the people that are looking out for the environment of Lake Tahoe and the businesses that maybe aren't so good for it.
Yeah, we have been in ever since we heard about the cables in the lake, which unfortunately contain lead. We have been a big part of making sure that those get out of the lake from the very beginning. And the good news is, actually, just this morning we sent out an alert that said that those cables are now officially in the process of being removed. It's been a really long road, working with AT&T, working with the land managers, getting permits, testing, all of the stuff, but our science and advocacy team has been on it and with them the entire time. So that's just been great. I believe that there's definitely a role with partnerships and nonprofits and businesses, and by working together, we can do better and be better. And that's just part of the process. And as the on the ground experts that have been stewarding the lake since 1957, like we're more than happy to serve that role for the community.
Yeah, that's awesome. I also saw you guys posted on Instagram the other day. There was like a proposed bridge that was going to go across Emerald Bay. I
Yeah,
had I had no idea.
dude.
When was that?
That's gnarly, right? So
Yeah,
in 1957, in the 1950s, this huge development plan was proposed, and that was the catalyst that created the League to Save Lake Tahoe. Our founders saw the development plan, which included a bridge over the mouth of Emerald Bay and also development around the lake that would have been able to house like almost quarters of a million people full time. Now, to put that in perspective for you, about 60,000 people live around the lake full time now. And so, if you can imagine, a population that rivaled a very metropolitan area, Lake Tahoe could have looked really differently. But luckily, our founders saw that and said like, nope, this place is too special for that to happen. Historically, Lake Tahoe had a clarity of 100 feet. You could see 100 feet down into the lake. Now it's only about 60 feet in the summer. And so some years are better than others, but I mean, even with stopping that development project, like our clarity is still being impacted. And so I reflect on if that development project hadn't have been stopped, like, I mean, Tahoe would not be the amazing world-renowned destination that it is. So we're really proud of that.
yeah. It's really interesting just to hear you talk about all that, like cars and traffic and housing and all these different aspects that the environment surrounding Tahoe is super important to keeping Tahoe blue, quote unquote. And so that's fascinating to hear. I also know that you guys work with other businesses to sort of promote the lake, clean up the lake, so on and so forth. It's your blue business program. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Oh, well, I would love to, Zach, especially because Active NorCal is also a blue business.
Yes.
Spoiler alert. So our blue business program is how we help businesses help the lake and amplify them and uplift them as leaders in our community at the same time. When we created this program, something that was coming up a lot was reciprocity. Like, in so many ways, the health of the lake and the health of the community in Tahoe are just intrinsically connected. And so we want to help businesses help take care of the lake in that way. We have there's a lot of really awesome aspects about the program, but maybe I'll let you ask me questions before I just start rolling.
No, go ahead. It's great, and I think especially for a nonprofit, it's super important to get out in the community, not only to send the messages that you're trying to send to the public, but also to gain those strategic partnerships to help reach the public for funding, so on and so forth.
Right.
So no, yeah, tell me like how if there's a business out there, say whether they're local Lake Tahoe or not local Lake Tahoe, how can they, participate and what exactly is it?
Yeah. Thanks, Zach. So thanks for steering me. So
No.
our Blue Business Program is really cool. And one of my favorite parts about it is that it's super flexible and inclusive and accessible. We designed it that way very intentionally. So the program is based around these 4 buckets. And again, they have cute names. There's Share Blue, Join Blue, Be Blue, and Support Blue. The Share Blue means we would love businesses' help getting the word out to visitors and residents alike on how we do things here in Tahoe. And how we do things is, we already talked about it. We're being blue-gooders. We're leaving no trace, picking up after ourselves, choosing reusables, carpooling, picking up after our pets, etc. And that's where Active NorCal really does like an amazing job of being one of our Blue business partners. Not only have y'all highlighted us in your print edition, you also post things on social media all the time. We're so grateful for that because like y'all are just such a good example of what it could mean to to educate others and share that ethic, that ethos. One of those other buckets is Join Blue. That means getting involved with our cleanups, like we already talked about. And we also do really cool restoration events where we plant trees and where they're appropriate to plant and do some other cool stuff. One of our next bucket is the Be Blue bucket. And that really revolves around businesses taking a look at their impact and trying to mitigate it as much as possible. Maybe that looks like removing all single-use plastics from their operations or implementing zero waste practices, whatever it is, reducing our impact. We all have an impact. I'm going to drive my car here later to go on a bike ride, but we can all do what we can when we can to, do better. And then our last bucket is Support Blue. And that's when businesses help us with much needed funding to do our lake saving work. And that can be done in a variety of ways too. Write us a check. We love that. Or if it would make more sense to fundraise through a really awesome collaborative product, like great, we want to talk about it. Again, the purpose of this program is to make it really easy for business to get involved with us because every business is different. And that means that the ways that they help will be different too. Another really important value of the program is equity. We want every business to be able to benefit from partnering with us. And we believe that means that you shouldn't have to write a giant check to end up at the top of our webpage. If you're doing really awesome work for the lake, we want everyone to know about it.
Yeah, no, I love what you guys are doing with this, and I know this is sort of your baby, so I'm glad that you can talk about it. But just having discussions, you and I, when we first started talking, you're just like, "What do you want to do? Let's do whatever," And I think that's such a great way to get with businesses because, like you said, every business is different. Not everyone's in a position to just write a check, right? But we can inspire, we can do events, we can help promote all that different stuff. So really cool program.
Thank you.
Personally, what's your favorite part about living in Tahoe?
Just the access. I can go. I'm gonna go on a bike ride with a couple of my coworkers this afternoon. Like we can just do that, and I think, yeah. I mean, that's the best. We can drive 5 minutes to go snowboarding and skiing. I mean, it's just feel like it's good. It's good for the soul. Oh, and I live in a neighborhood where I can walk my dog next to the lake every day, and I get to see this lake that I am protecting, and it's so meaningful to me. That's definitely my favorite part.
Are you more of a summer or winter person?
Oh, how funny. Actually, my boss, Jesse, our chief strategy officer, he said this to me, and now I'm going to use it, but I wanted to give him credit. He said, "You come for winter, but you stay for summer," and that's exactly what happened. I was so excited to snowboard at all the resorts and everything, and then like summer happened when I had my first summer here, and I was just like, "Wow!" Like I guess year round is just spectacular.
Yeah, my family, we used to go to Tahoe every year to like ski, and I never even thought about the lake. When I was a kid, I just wanted to
Yeah.
like go to the mountains. And then as I got older, I'm like, oh, they have beaches in the summer, and you can
Yeah.
go wakeboarding and biking. Um, yeah, so it's an amazing place. We
Mhm.
really appreciate what you guys are doing.
Mm.
Finally, like just a normal person, that is passionate about the lake. How can they help? How can they support Save League to Save Lake Tahoe?
Heck yeah. Please go to keeptahoeblue.org. Check us out. Check out all the great ways there are to volunteer. You can also follow us on all the social medias, the Instagrams, Facebook, LinkedIn, even, and just check it out and learn why Tahoe is so important. I feel like maybe there's a lot of people that have come up here. Gosh, every time we're traveling somewhere and I tell them I work for the League to Save Lake Tahoe, I mean, every single time somebody will say like, "Oh, I've been there," and then they will share this like magical memory with me of like them during their anniversary with their spouse, and like, gosh, it's just Tahoe is such a place for like amazing memories, and like we're in the business of protecting those memories, and we would love for you to help and join us, so please check us out, keeptahoeblue.org.
At the very least, you got to buy one of those cool stickers
Buy a
because
sticker.
it's kind of you see a car driving down the road with one of those stickers and you just like thumbs up. You're like great job.
You Betty, me and you, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I echo that. Like when I travel around the country, I Northern California has a few places that are really renowned, I think, but like Lake Tahoe is number one, and you're right next to the lake. I'm an hour away. Sometimes it feels like we don't appreciate it maybe as much as we should, but it's such a great place, and we really do appreciate what you guys do. So thank you very much.
Yay, thanks, Zach. Thank you, Active NorCal. Thank you. Yeah.